Welcome everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation on teeth whitening. This is the first module in our series, and I'm glad you're here. We will explore a comprehensive foundation in cosmetic dentistry, including its history, the different types of discoloration, and how to effectively manage patient expectations. Over the next few slides, we'll cover the essentials you need to know to enhance your practice and provide better care. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to Module 1 Overview. In this section, we'll focus on setting the foundation for successful outcomes. We'll explore essential communication skills, which are crucial when working with clients and colleagues. Developing these skills helps ensure clear understanding and builds trust. We'll also touch on the importance of recognizing discoloration, a key aspect in cosmetic procedures. Mastering cosmetic principles is fundamental, as it guides our decision-making and technique application. Additionally, we'll learn how to classify different conditions and treatments to better tailor our approach. The main learning objectives for this module are to thoroughly understand these core concepts and see how they connect to achieving the best results. Remember, mastering these fundamentals is vital for delivering quality care and ensuring client satisfaction. Let's take a closer look at the foundation of smile enhancement. Improving aesthetics through whitening is really considered a cornerstone procedure in cosmetic dentistry. It's often one of the first steps we take to elevate a patient's smile because it provides immediate, noticeable results. When we talk about cosmetic dentistry, we're not just focusing on functional aspects, but also on how a smile looks and feels. Whitening, in particular, plays a vital role because it can significantly boost confidence and overall appearance. It's a simple yet powerful way to enhance the natural beauty of a smile, setting the stage for more advanced procedures if needed. So, understanding this foundation helps us appreciate how integral whitening is to the broader goal of smile enhancement. Let's talk about minimal intervention, which really focuses on achieving a high visual impact using non-invasive techniques. The idea here is to enhance the smile without extensive procedures, making it a more comfortable experience for the patient. Whitening is often the very first step in a smile makeover. It's usually done before placing veneers or doing bonding, because it helps to establish a uniform, harmonious color foundation for the new restorations. Think of whitening as setting the stage for the rest of the aesthetic work. It ensures that when we add veneers or bonding, everything blends seamlessly, creating a natural, beautiful result. So, this initial whitening isn't just about brightness, it's about creating the perfect starting point for the entire aesthetic plan. This approach aligns with the overall theme of conservative dentistry, achieving stunning results while preserving as much of the natural tooth structure as possible. It's a strategic first step that plays a crucial role in both the aesthetic and functional success of the smile makeover. When it comes to treatment planning, one of the most important aspects is setting realistic expectations for success. This means being clear with our patients about what can be achieved and understanding that results can vary based on individual factors. It's crucial to communicate openly so patients have a genuine understanding of the potential outcomes. Personalizing the whitening protocol is key here. Every patient is different, and their whitening needs and responses can vary. By tailoring the approach, we ensure the best possible results while managing expectations. Overall, this step ties everything together. Proper planning, setting achievable goals, and customizing treatments all contribute to a more successful and satisfying patient experience. Remember, the goal is not just to whiten teeth, but to do so in a way that's safe, effective, and aligned with the patient's aesthetic desires. Let's take a moment to look at the remarkable breakthroughs in whitening technology. Starting with the modern era, we saw the introduction of Carbamide peroxide and LED systems, which really revolutionized how we approach teeth whitening today. These innovations have made procedures faster, safer, and more effective. Moving back in time to the 19th century, hydrogen peroxide emerged as a key bleaching agent, marking a significant step forward in dental whitening techniques. But if we go even further back, to the ancient era, we find that people used abrasive methods with natural materials like pumice, ash, and vinegar. It's fascinating to see how the quest for a brighter smile has evolved, from simple abrasives to advanced chemical and light-based systems. All of these stages highlight the ongoing pursuit of better, more efficient ways to enhance dental aesthetics. When we look at long-term damage from these ancient dental methods, it's clear they often caused more harm than good. They could lead to tooth sensitivity, decay, and even permanent loss of tooth structure over time. For example, the chemical risks were significant. Romans, for instance, used ammonia-rich animal urine in their practices, which not only was unpleasant, but also posed severe bacterial risks that could threaten oral health. Then there were abrasive mixtures. The Egyptians used crushed pumice stone combined with vinegar, which, while seemingly effective, actually eroded the protective enamel on the teeth. This damage could make teeth even more vulnerable to decay and sensitivity. Overall, these ancient methods reflect how early civilizations experimented with dental care, but many of their techniques were quite harmful when you consider the long-term effects. It's a reminder of how far we've come in understanding safe and effective dental treatments. Let's take a closer look at early chemical bleaching methods, which were primarily used for general purposes. These methods, however, were considered unsafe by today's standards. One of the main issues was the lack of standardization, which made the process inconsistent and sometimes hazardous. Moving forward in history, we see the introduction of hydrogen peroxide as a bleaching agent. This marked a significant step because hydrogen peroxide is much more effective and safer than earlier chemicals. In the 1800s, we also witnessed the first scientific applications of bleaching. This was a critical development because it laid the groundwork for more precise and reliable methods. Overall, these early efforts, despite their safety concerns and lack of standardization, set the stage for the more advanced and safer bleaching technologies we use today. On this slide, we're highlighting some key advancements in teeth whitening that have really shaped the field. First, we have standardized concentrations, which are crucial because they ensure both safety and effectiveness. When we use consistent, predictable levels of the active ingredients, we can confidently achieve reliable results for our patients. Next, I want to point out the introduction of custom-fitted trays. These trays are a game changer in terms of patient convenience. They fit perfectly, making application easier and more comfortable, which can really improve patient compliance and satisfaction. Moving on, we also see the rise of at-home systems. These are designed to give patients the ability to whiten their teeth conveniently in their own time, with the peace of mind that the products are safe and effective. A key component here is carbamide peroxide, a stable compound that allows for slow, controlled release of bleaching agents. This slow-release mechanism enhances safety because it minimizes irritation and provides a gentle, consistent whitening effect. And finally, we can't forget the significance of the 1980s revolution. This period marked a major turning point when whitening techniques and products became more standardized and accessible, setting the stage for the advanced systems we use today. All of these points connect back to our overall theme: improving patient care through safer, more predictable, and more convenient whitening options. When we encounter tooth discoloration, it's important to recognize that it can often be a mix of different patterns, which means we need a multi-step clinical approach. On this slide, we see the three main types: combined, intrinsic, and extrinsic. Let's start with combined discoloration. This involves both internal and surface factors, such as trauma, medications, or genetics. Because it affects both the inside and surface of the tooth, it tends to be a bit more challenging to treat effectively. It often requires a tailored, step-by-step plan to address all aspects. Next, intrinsic stains are those that come from within the tooth itself. Common causes include certain foods, drinks, or tobacco use, which can cause surface stains. The good news here is that these are generally easier to remove or lighten with whitening procedures. Finally, extrinsic stains are surface stains caused by external factors like coffee, tea, or smoking. These are usually the easiest to treat because they sit on the surface and can often be polished or cleaned off. Understanding these different patterns helps us identify the most effective treatment plan for each patient. Recognizing whether a stain is intrinsic, extrinsic, or combined guides us in choosing the right approach, ensuring we achieve the best results for our patients. Responds well to prophylaxis. So, if you're thinking about prevention, a professional cleaning can really make a difference in managing stains and keeping teeth looking their best. Tobacco use and smoking are significant factors here. They are well known for causing staining, and not just staining, but other oral health issues as well. It's important to recognize that these habits can deeply impact the appearance of teeth. Coffee, tea, and red wine are common lifestyle factors that contribute to extrinsic stains. These beverages contain chromogens and tannins, which can adhere to the outer enamel surface and lead to discoloration over time. The stains we see are primarily located on the outer enamel surface, which makes sense because external agents like these tend to cause surface staining rather than internal discoloration. When we talk about extrinsic stains, we're referring to those surface stains caused by external agents, things we consume or habits we have that affect the outer layer of our teeth. Understanding these factors helps us better advise our patients on how to prevent or manage stains, emphasizing the importance of good oral hygiene and lifestyle choices in maintaining a bright, healthy smile. Now, let's discuss some of the intrinsic stains that can affect the teeth. One major cause is excessive fluoride intake during enamel formation, which leads to a condition called fluorosis. This condition can cause the enamel to develop white spots or even brown discolorations if the exposure is severe. Another important point is pulp injury, which can occur due to trauma. When the pulp tissue inside the tooth sustains injury, it may cause internal darkening or staining of the tooth. This type of staining is often a sign of underlying damage and requires careful evaluation. Trauma itself can also lead to discoloration, especially if the injury affects the blood supply or causes damage to the pulp tissue. Additionally, the use of tetracycline antibiotics during tooth development can cause intrinsic staining. Tetracycline binds to the dentin and enamel as the teeth form, resulting in a gray or brown discoloration that's embedded within the tooth structure. In general, these intrinsic stains are different from extrinsic stains because they originate from within the tooth rather than from external sources like food or drink. Understanding these causes helps us better diagnose and plan appropriate treatment options for our patients. Let's walk through the process of managing combined staining, especially in cases of persistent discoloration. First, we start with cleaning, removing surface extrinsic debris to get a clear view of the tooth's actual stain. This step is crucial because surface deposits can mask underlying color issues. Next, we evaluate the depth of intrinsic stains, which are embedded within the tooth structure. Understanding how deep these stains go helps us determine the most effective approach. Then, we move on to bleaching, where we aim to lighten the overall tooth structure. This step is important for addressing stains that respond well to whitening agents. However, for stains that don't respond sufficiently, especially the persistent ones, we consider using veneers. Veneers provide a durable and aesthetic solution for cases where bleaching alone isn't enough. By following this sequence, we ensure a comprehensive approach to restoring the tooth's appearance and achieving optimal results. Now, let's talk about sensitivity management. It's important to inform patients that they might experience temporary sensitivity or gum irritation after whitening treatments. This is quite common and usually resolves on its own, but being upfront helps manage expectations and reduces any anxiety. Next, let's discuss restoration limits. Remember, bleaching agents won't affect crowns, fillings, or veneers. So, if a patient has any of these, they should understand that only their natural teeth will lighten, and the restorations will stay the same color. Moving on to realistic outcomes. It's essential to set the right expectations because results can vary from person to person. Whitening generally enhances the natural tooth color, but it's not a permanent solution. Over time, teeth can stain again, so maintenance is key. And finally, managing expectations is really about being honest and clear with patients. Helping them understand what whitening can and can't do ensures they're satisfied with the results and are prepared for the longevity of their smile. All these points tie back to our overall goal, providing safe, effective, and realistic whitening options. Let's talk about what influences the success of our treatments, starting with compliance with the treatment protocol. When patients follow the recommended steps carefully, we see much better results. Next, the type and depth of staining play a significant role. Superficial stains are easier to address, whereas deeper stains may require different approaches. The initial tooth color and the patient's age are also crucial factors. Lighter starting shades and younger patients often achieve more predictable outcomes. Most patients, however, tend to show significant improvement when we use the Vita Shade Guide. Typically, we see a change of about 2 to 8 shades, which can make a real difference in their smile. The key takeaway here is that while individual factors vary, understanding these elements helps us set realistic expectations and tailor our treatment plans for the best possible results. Now, to maintain those stunning results, it's important to use professional touch-up kits every 3 to 6 months. This helps to keep your smile looking its best over the long term. Remember, following a personalized maintenance plan is key to sustaining those aesthetic benefits we've worked so hard to achieve. When it comes to touch-up protocols, avoid substances that can stain, such as coffee, red wine, and tobacco. These can quickly dull the brightness we've aimed for. Additionally, maintaining excellent oral hygiene with regular professional cleanings plays a crucial role in preserving your results and ensuring overall oral health. Lifestyle habits also have a big impact. Being mindful of what you consume and sticking to good oral care routines supports the longevity of your enhancements. In terms of maintenance strategies, consistency is your best friend. By sticking to these guidelines, you'll enjoy your beautiful smile for years to come. Remember, ongoing care and smart choices are what keep your smile looking radiant and natural, tying everything together in your overall aesthetic journey.